Okay, so for tens of millions of Americans, that annual Social Security cost of living adjustment, the COLA, is a huge deal. It's one of the biggest financial announcements of the year. Today, we're going to break down the new numbers for 2026, and let me tell you, the story is way more complicated than it looks on the surface. So let's dive right in.
And here it is, the headline number. The official COLA for 2026 is 2.8%. This is the figure that's going to directly affect the benefits for, well, over 70 million Americans, from retirees to those with disabilities.
So on the face of it, this sounds like good news. I mean, a raise is a raise, right? This whole adjustment is the system's way of trying to make sure your benefits keep up with inflation, with the rising cost of everything. It's supposed to protect your buying power from one year to the next.
But what does that 2.8% actually look like in your wallet? Well, for the average retired worker, it works out to about an extra $56 a month. That'll bring their average monthly check up to around $2,071 starting in January.
You know, this raise also puts us in some pretty interesting historical territory. This is actually the first time in nearly 3 decades, we're talking all the way back to 1997, that people have gotten 5 years in a row of COLAs that are 2.5% or higher. So it's definitely been a period of bigger adjustments.
But, and you knew there was a but coming, right? This is where the story takes a turn. Because almost as soon as this number was announced, experts started pointing out a major problem with this so-called raise.
Which really brings us to the core question we're tackling here. Is this raise just an illusion? Could this extra money actually vanish before it even gets a chance to make any real difference in your life? Let's find out.
And look, this isn't just us guessing. The source material for this says it pretty bluntly, as you can see right here. The tough reality is, for a lot of people, this raise is going to be partly or maybe even completely wiped out by other costs. So, let's break down the 2 main reasons why.
Okay, the first big issue is all about how Social Security even measures inflation. And honestly, it's kind of a classic case of using the wrong tool for the job.
The official yardstick they use is something called the CPI-W. Now, the full name is what's really key here. The Consumer Price Index for, get this, urban wage earners and clerical workers. This is the formula they've been using to calculate the COLA since way back in 1975.
And right there, that's the mismatch. Urban wage earners, these are generally younger people who are still working. Their spending habits look totally different from a retiree's. Seniors spend a much bigger piece of their income on 2 things in particular, housing and medical care. The CPI-W just doesn't weigh those costs heavily enough, and that's the whole problem. It means the COLA might not be enough to cover the very bills that are going up the fastest for retirees.
This chart here shows you the problem perfectly. I mean, just look at the numbers. The inflation for medical care is clipping along at 3.9%. For shelter, it's 3.5%. And both of those are way higher than the 2.8% COLA that's supposed to help you pay for them. You can see the gap plain as day.
So here's the bottom line. When the things you absolutely have to buy are getting more expensive faster than your income is going up, you're actually falling behind. Your check might have a bigger number on it, but your power to buy what you need is shrinking. It's a real loss of purchasing power. Now let's get to the second big hit.
The second reason this raise can feel like it's disappearing is a lot more direct, and it's pretty much a sure thing. We're talking about an automatic deduction that millions of retirees are going to see come straight out of their check.
Yeah, for anyone who's enrolled in both Social Security and Medicare, this is going to sound very familiar. The premium for your Medicare Part B, you know, the part that covers doctor visits and that sort of thing, it's just taken right out of your Social Security payment, automatically, every month. The two are directly linked.
And here's the other shoe dropping, and man, does it drop hard. According to the Medicare Trustees Report, the Part B premium is projected to jump by a staggering 11.5% in 2026. I mean, wow, that is a massive increase that completely blows the 2.8% COLA out of the water. So let's talk actual dollars and cents. The standard monthly premium is forecast to jump from $185 in 2025 all the way up to $206.20 in 2026. That's a monthly hit of an extra $21.20.
So, let's do the math real quick, just like you see here. You start with that average COLA increase of $56, then boom, right off the top, you subtract that $21.20 increase for Medicare. So what are you actually left with? A little over a third of that raise is just gone. Poof, before you even lay a finger on it.
So, okay, we've got the inflation mismatch, and we've got the Medicare bite. What's the big picture here? What's the real takeaway from all this?
It really just boils down to a 1-2 punch. First, the COLA is calculated using an inflation metric, the CPI-W, that just doesn't match the real-world spending of seniors. And second, a huge piece of that raise is immediately eaten up by that projected spike in Medicare premiums.
And this is really the most important thing to get. A bigger number on your check doesn't automatically mean you have more spending power. There's a huge difference between a nominal raise on paper and a real raise that actually lets you buy more.
And all of this leaves us with one really big fundamental question, doesn't it? Is the system we're using, a system designed decades ago, is it still built to handle the financial reality that retirees are facing today? It's a critical question for the millions of Americans counting on this system. Thanks for joining us for this explainer.